Hello, and thank you guys for coming today. I really appreciate you helping me out on this. And I just want to say that this speech is something that I've wanted to do for, not the speech necessarily, but the content. It's just very interesting to me. It's where we all come from. Everybody who has been born starts from humble means. And it all starts with one sperm cell and one egg cell. And they combine to make a zygote, and from there, life is born. According to medicine.net, prenatal development is the process of growth and development within the womb in which a single-celled zygote, the cell formed by the combination of the egg and the sperm, become an embryo first, and then a fetus, and then a baby. So intricate are the developmental stages of the unborn child that it takes a full 9 months to completely grow a human to develop so that it may thrive and survive outside the mother's womb. There are three main stages of the prenatal development. The first stage is the embryonic, or the germinal stage, and then the embryonic stage, and finally the fetal stage, which is where it looks most obviously like the baby. Let's take a closer look at all the stages, at each stage of the prenatal development, and what goes on in each stage. First, the germinal stage. According to C12 Foundation, the germinal stage is the first and shortest of the human lifespan. So I find it interesting that they call it the human lifespan because it starts right there. Anyway, that's just a side note. But this, according to lumenlearning.com, takes about 2 weeks. It begins with the fertilization of the egg with the sperm to form that little zygote that we talked about before. The zygote actually undergoes several changes. First of all, it divides. It starts, it forms a solid ball of cells, several cells, called a morula. And actually, the morula is the second state, or the second form, or the second change, I should say. It actually starts forming into a hollow ball of cells. So the cells actually start spreading out to form this hollow ball. Inside it's kind of hollow. And that's called a blastocyst. Then it kind of goes down the fallopian tube and then finally down to the uterus, where it implants into the endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus. And of course, there it starts to grow, and thus it begins the embryonic stage. So the embryonic stage is the second stage in prenatal development, and according to the verywellmind.com, this is where the massive cells become distinct as a human being. So you start seeing those little bitty arms and the head, and you can actually see the spinal cord, and the little feet and the eyes that kind of pop out. Looks kind of somewhat alien, but but you can see the little human being starting to form. The first part of the embryo to develop is actually, and I find this very interesting because it's the central part of everything. It's called the neural tube, and that neural tube is just actually later on becomes the spinal cord and the brain. So if you don't have a brain, you're not alive. If you don't have a spinal cord, you can't live. So it's just kind of the very basic development of life, and that's according to lumenlearning.com. Also in the embryonic stage, this is where most of or actually all of the major organs are formed, as well as the eyes and the nose, and the mouth and the jaw develop as well. The intestines also start growing, which is kind of hard to imagine because if you think about it, at this stage, they're only, it's little bitty, and it's already forming those, that just intricate little bitty microscopic tubes that, just as it grows and as you become a human being outside the womb, it's just amazing to me. I love this subject. I think it's just awesome. But anyway, and also, let's see, the third and final stage is the fetal stage. This is where the heart and the lungs and the stomach and the intestine, as I said before, start to grow and develop. And it's actually at this stage where a baby can be born prematurely and actually is developed enough to survive outside the womb. It just depends on how far along or whatever, but depending on how strong they are with or without the assistance of medicine or whatever. But that's also according to lumenlearning.com. At this stage, the baby looks most like a human being. The gender can be determined. You see the actual arms and legs. They're not actually just little pods sticking out, but they're arms and legs. And also, if you are fortunate to have a little baby that has hair, when you not like me, but has hair, you can actually see lots and lots of hair, and the eyelashes are visible. You can actually see fingernails if you do the 3D thing. You can see fingernails and toenails, and it's just amazing. When Gracie was little, of course, being my first baby, I wanted to see everything, and I did one of the 3D things, and I could tell immediately that she looked exactly like Fred. The nose, even down to the feet, it was crazy that I just, oh, that's Fred. And of course it was great. I didn't mind that one bit. Anyway, so it's just amazing to see that. But also most notably is how fast they grow from week to week. Changes are occurring, and baby starts kicking, stretching, pushing, ribs in a rib, or the most uncomfortable time, obviously. But that is where it grows. The baby grows the most and the fastest. And today we've learned the 3 stages: the prenatal development, the germinal, the embryonic, and the fetal stages. But what we've learned, I think probably most importantly, is that at every single stage in the prenatal development is essential to the growth and development of a healthy and thriving newborn baby.